Hello, ghost hunters! Last week I introduced you to the cursed possessions. This week I want to spend a little bit of time going over the changes with the Ouija board. Stay tuned to see how this item has become especially useful in your hunts. Let's begin with some Ouija board basics. To pick up the Ouija board, a player must use an empty hand. When holding the Ouija board, if players swap to other items, it will drop the board. Taking a photo of the Ouija board counts for photographic evidence. You do not need to turn on the board. However, if you ask the board questions, taking photos of the responses will count as interactions. Most Ouija board answers will deduct some sanity. Some are riskier questions than others. If your ghost happens to be a demon, you will lose less sanity when receiving responses on the Ouija board. There are many locations for the Ouija board. In the most recent patch, the developer did decrease the spawn locations for the board on the larger locations. If you have not seen my video on the Ouija board, you can check it out here. Most of the information is still pretty good, even though the Ouija board has had a few changes since then. The most obvious change is that it looks different than the old board. The old board blended in more with its surroundings and could be easily missed. The newer board is a bit easier to see for those of us quickly scanning areas to check for this item. The game now guarantees a cursed possession on every hunt. So if you happen to find one of the other 5 items, then you can determine that you do not have a Ouija board. The Ouija board also appears different when it is active. Turning on the board will place a planchette on the board rather than glowing as the old board did. The major thing is that the Ouija board now only shows up about once every 6 hunts. How the board affects sanity has changed, and you will lose a significantly less amount of sanity for most questions. There are also a variety of questions that you can ask the ghost now, some more useful than others. When you are done using the board, you must say goodbye. If you walk away from an active board without doing so, the board will crack, glow bright red with ghostly handprints, and begin a cursed hunt. There are many questions you can ask the ghost now. With the addition of a yes, maybe, and no, the ghost will respond to many more questions than it did before. Many of these questions will only drop your sanity by a small amount, and thus you can ask quite a few more things. For example, you can ask the ghost, "Am I pretty?" or "Are we friends?" These questions will not help you with your ghost hunt though. You can also ask questions like, "How are you feeling?" "How did you die?" "What do you want?" These questions are trivial and while can be interesting, do not affect your ghost hunt. You can even tell the ghost a knock-knock joke. There are a handful of questions that I personally feel make this item more useful than others. First, you can ask the ghost, "Where are you?" or "What is your favorite room?" at the loss of a large chunk of sanity. But if you're having issues finding the ghost or you want to find it quickly, this can help you move things along. Also very useful is asking the ghost, "Where is your bone?" This question will also cost you a good chunk of sanity, but considerably less than asking for the ghost location. Even more useful in my opinion is asking the ghost, "Do you respond to everyone?" as this will tell you if players need to be alone for evidence and interactions. The final thing that I find very useful and interesting about the Ouija board is the addition of games. You may have heard that you can play hide and seek with the ghost.
Hide and seek.
Not all ghosts will play, but if you find one that does, it will count down from 5 to 0 before breaking and beginning a hunt. In my experience, staying in the spot where the broken board is will likely result in death, as the ghost seems to know that you have not chosen to hide somewhere different. However, if you have an objective that requires you to survive a hunt or get a photo, this may be useful to you. What I find even more useful is playing Marco Polo with the ghost.
Marco.
For each Marco, the board will respond with Polo, and if you ask near the ghost, it will also interact with something nearby. You can photograph both the response of Polo on the board as an interaction and then the interaction in the room as well. In my opinion, this is one of the most useful changes to the board as it helps you narrow down your ghost location and will often get it to touch doors, light switches, and windows should you be looking for fingerprints. What interesting interactions have you had with the Ouija board in Phasmophobia? Have you found questions or games that you can play with the ghost that I did not mention here? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and as always, happy hunting.